Hey there.
What do you want, human?
You wanted to see me?
Yes. I apologize once again for having to play this role in front of you, but the situation was a difficult one, and I could not risk blowing my cover.
I understand. You're one of Dandolo's spies too?
No, I work for my people, even if Dandolo was a precious ally. I was in Ophir to plan an escape, but it was not exactly what I wanted to tell you about. I would like to offer you my services.
You're also a mercenary?
No, I am not interested in serum. And a Technomancer ally, yes. It is rare for mutants to know someone with your talents. So if you need a hand or any information, you know where to find me. And maybe I will ask for your services once in a while.
All right. What really happened with your mother? I must say I didn't understand much. That stone? The police's arrival?
My mother was helping me as much as she could to carry out my mission. She would provide me with information, sometimes hide mutants on the run before they could leave the city. She was a wonderful woman, Zach, but someone turned her in. Fiorello heard and raced to get me out with your aid. Though how I yearned to save her, to get to the slums to warn her. But I knew I could not. You, though, could. The stone was a token of recognition. She knew what it meant. If she was turned in, she had to leave as soon as possible. And if she couldn't, the drawing was made with an ink made of jellyfish venom.
But why give her that poison?
I didn't want her to die, Zach. I loved my mother. But I knew what the ASC would do to her in their jail. If they caught her, she needed a way to avoid being tortured.
When did you discover that you were a mutant?
The first symptoms of mutation appeared when I was very young. I must say that I can't really remember very well. My mother noticed them, and she taught me how to hide the marks, even though I think that I didn't know what it meant. She was hoping to keep me close to her, but as soon as the first marks appeared on my face, they spotted me out right away. I will never forget my arrest, how violent they were toward my mother. I was just a kid. I was sent to one of the farms on the outskirts of town. That's where I learned what it meant to be a mutant.
What's the Mutant Nation? You created it, right?
It is a little overblown, but I was one of its founders, among many others. Of course, other mutants were living outside the city as runaway slaves, hidden here and there, stealing whatever they could find in order to survive. A small community had settled in Noctis and benefited from the hospitality of the merchants, who allowed them to move around freely. However, we did not have any way to defend ourselves or plan a future. We were all spread out. A few of us decided to get together. We found a place, a very unique one, and we soon started doing it up, bringing in equipment and erecting houses. As for me, I especially wanted to free as many brothers and sisters as possible. So I went back to Ophir, and I realized that nobody cared about mutants, especially if they didn't look very smart. I began to help dozens of them escape. And our nation soon began to grow. There are a lot of us now, and I hope that all mutants will be able to live there someday.
Can't go through here.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Do you have a moment?
Hey there.
Hello, I'm Brett, and you are?
Zachariah.
A pleasure then, Zachariah. Are you a hunting enthusiast, a trapper, specialist in local species? Maybe a strong fellow like you might be a mixture of them all.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm none of those things.
Ah, well, my hope got the best of me. I've been looking for someone to aid in my studies. A shame. Sure you're not a hunter, or even someone who'd want to try his hand at it.
Can you tell me what's going on?
Yes, of course, of course. You see, the focus of my study is the planet's fauna, all the insects and animals brought by the settlers that have since mutated, much like our own mutants, if not in a more spectacular way. Now, I've studied the most well-known of the creatures, of course, but I have heard of much more rare specimens, which I would go to any lengths to study. It would offer great insight into the animal mutations. Anyone can admire their beauty, but what we need is to understand how they came to be what they are. We need to study their anatomy, but they are, of course, rather dangerous.
So you need a hunter to find them and bring back your specimens. I might be able to help. What are you after?
Well, there is so much. There's a black mole and a shield toad. Also a locust I've named Locusta tempestatus, or more colorfully, the storm locust. It's been spotted in the tunnels beneath Ophir.
What can you tell me about the storm locust?
Locusta tempestatus? Well, very little but what has been told to me, actually. It is a creature, by all word, that seems to feed on electrical sources. Looks like an ordinary locust, which we know also shares the taste for electricity, but it's much larger. Perhaps its purportedly massive thirst for electricity is simply in proportion to its size? I don't know, but I'm hungry to find out.
What do you know about the black mole, besides the fact that it's black?
Well, its name is somewhat of a misnomer. It isn't really black. Darker than the others for sure, but not black. Its skin, though, seems to sweat venom. Wonderful, isn't it? Imagine. What a wonderful defense.
Yeah, wonderful. Always dreamed of catching poisonous moles.
Isn't it fascinating? A beautiful scientific mystery.
Already expecting the worst, but, why is it called the shield toad?
Those who have had the rare opportunity to see this beautiful creature say its skin is nearly armor-like. In fact, nothing seems to be able to pierce it. No arrows, not even conventional weapons. The hunters take their best shot, but always run away terrified. Delicate little things humans are, but there has to be an explanation for this extraordinary mutation, and I must find it.
Checking the leading against me. Ah, and here comes the rare pearl, the diamond in the rough that my Nisha tells me about. Come, young man.
Zachariah Mancer. was a lieutenant in abundance.
Then welcome to Noctus Labyrinthus, Zachariah Mancer, former Lieutenant of Abundance. I am Dandolo, head of this fair city.
Legendary city of the merchants. Apparently less legend than I thought. Or been told.
But hopefully as glorious as legends proclaim. Regardless, for all who come seeking asylum, it opens its arms to you and your companions. You are free to call it home. Like all who have come before you, you will honor our only request, that you make yourselves useful to our city. I'm sure your skills will place you in high demand. Noctis' first Technomancer. Exciting. You'll have all the help you need with Nisha and Lucky, who I believe you've met. We'll give you a room to get some rest. I hear your trip was quite eventful. There is something else. I would like to personally discuss my expectations of you. You hear? War between Abundance and Aurora's winding down. Aurora took Green Hope.
Just left Ophir a few hours ago and didn't hear anything about that.
That really surprise you? Your little censorship office probably hasn't decided what to do with the information yet. No. Don't look at me like that. You don't belong to Abundance anymore. The truce doesn't behoove us. During peace, the corporations become more suspicious of us and our business suffers. Our city could even be discovered, which would be catastrophic. In legend, it must remain.
What do you...
No, let me speak. Your welcome here comes at a price. I want you to attack an Aurora convoy. It's right up your alley.
And why would I do that?
I didn't finish. You will do it in Abundance uniforms, dissolving the truce. Do what you want with the soldiers, but let the civilians live. They need to be witnesses that will report back to Aurora.
So you keep the war going?
Precisely. And while you're at it, bring back the uniforms of the Aurora Technomancers you dispatch. I'm sure I'll find a use for them down the road. Another thing, much more trivial this time, I assure you. The rover you came in on, I'd like you to move it. Put it wherever you want, do whatever you want with it. Just make sure it's not in the way in the canyon. I just don't want Ophir to stumble over the machine and, as a result, find the road that leads here.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Oh yes, one last thing. My spies gave me a little tidbit that might interest you. Right after your escape, the ASC arrested your Technomancer brothers. That's what you call them, right? From Ophir. Their fate's uncertain, but if I was you, I'd be worried for them. If you're worried enough to want to help them, maybe we can set up some sand sails to get you back.
And your help comes at what cost? Assuming it's not out of the kindness of your heart.
Don't be so bitter, Zachariah. Business is business, not personal. I just thought a few Technomancers on our side might be useful.
You want to attack a convoy to reignite a war? You know how many people die in those wars? How many are mutilated? Taken prisoner?
Not precisely. But I think I have a clear idea of the numbers, yeah. Every battle has its purpose, Zachariah Mancer. Abundance has fought Aurora for years for more power, out of idealism that their philosophies are more righteous than Aurora's. We don't just fight the corporations because of their damned ideals. What we do for our survival. For the survival of the misfits of Mars, the rejected, the poor, the outcasts of corporations. We fight for those who find a home with us, those I promised to protect. This mission worries you, and I get that. I do. Which is why I'm not asking you to attack your old brothers in arms, but rather just carry out the same attacks you did countless times before, under different command.
I don't know how I can move the rover. Pretty damaged.
I'm sure you can find a way to move it up here. Not sure sand sails can help, but maybe you can couple it to some ostriches. Maybe your explorer friend didn't tell you, but some corporations would start a war to own such a machine. I'd repair it if I were you. Hell, sell it if you don't think you'll ever need it. I'll be honest, though. Rovers offer freedom no other transportation does. Word is, they can even reach the North and South Poles. Just something to think about.
How'd you find out about my brothers so quickly?
Well, besides the fact that your accident and eventful arrival slowed you down, my messenger sandsails make up in speed what they lack in protection. And of course, the arrests of Abundance's most powerful strike forces were worthy of dispatching agents to keep an eye on the situation. You haven't even given a thought to how this disrupts the current balance of forces, have you?
You know why they were arrested?
The official statement is that they were suspected of treason. Victor's pretext, I'm sure. He's a man who hates anything not under his control. Was probably planning this for quite a while. He didn't get what he wanted going at it indirectly, so he just took it head on. Whatever hope you have for their lives, I'd start to come to terms. They're probably being tortured for their secrets as we speak. And as soon as they give them up, they'll be executed. If you care about them...
He's intelligent, but shifty. He wishes to fire up another conflict, another war. Blood, corpses, misery. Those things follow a merchant of death. We should never have left Ophir.
I would have died there, Scott. I'm sorry you had to come with me. I really am. You could have stayed. But I have to go see what Dandolo wants.
I know it sounds bad, but what do you think Abundance or Aurora would do if they found our little outcast city? Dandolo may be cruel, but in the end, he only wants what's good for Noctis.
When will I ever get my delivery?
Stop being so impatient.
Feel odd coming back here. Makes me feel like I need to wake up. Finally wake up. Feels like I've been sleeping for so long. Trapped in a bad dream. Everything I've done for abundance. Now, sneaking in like some rat. I want to wake up from it all.
Scott, come on. We didn't have a choice. You know that.